I am joined today on Between the Levees by Mr. Kenny Creppel. When I joined the industry in 2015, I walked in the door. It's about 6:30 in the morning at AEP, and I was greeted by this gentleman and his coworker there on that hitch. Mr. Kenny Creppel, thank you very much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tim, man. It's a good thing you're doing, bro.
I appreciate it. Have you watched any more than T's episode?
Yeah, I've been going through them now. Since you had first sent me the link, I've been enjoying them, man.
Well, good
You know,
deal.
I seen Denzel the other day, and that one was pretty cool. Stuff about Denny I didn't know. His military background and all those things. It was pretty cool to know that, man.
Well, that's what I'm hoping to get out of you this time. You've seen it before. Tell me, where were you born, man?
Oh, straight out Gene Lafitte, man. Gene Lafitte in the bayou, 2 blocks from Barry, man. Born and raised.
What'd your dad do for a living?
My dad still today, believe it or not, he's dealing with some medical issues, but commercial fisherman his whole life, man. Uh, he worked at the shrimp dock for about 18 years, and then he said, "Man, I'm just gonna get my own skiff and skiff, crab traps, everything." He's just been doing it. 73 years old and scares me to death, but he's still doing it, man.
How about your mom? Does she work?
No, not anymore. Since I had a younger sister, she stayed at home with her and took care of all, dad's bills for the boat and, done all the paperwork stuff. She ran a little shrimp dock in Lafitte for a while, but then, when his stuff got busy, she wrote it out with him, man.
Yeah, well, tell me about growing up down there. I was only maybe an hour north of you, but man, I'm in a different world, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it was good. It was quiet. It's not the things you hear in the news all today. I mean, everybody was you knew everybody, and kind of like one of them old country towns on TV, man. You went to school with everybody for the 13 years, same people, a couple in and out. It was a good time, man. Uh, Fish, crab, shrimp. I mean, everything a kid would want to do. It was hard work at times, but it was sure fun, man. You know. I've been going from the bayou since 1990, but boy, I mean, every time I go back, it just brings it back to
And did you work with your dad, you said?
Yeah, yeah. I worked many years with him on the wharf before he had the shrimp boat, and then me and him teamed up after he left. In between my days off when I was working 7 to 7, and we shrimp, crab, fish, anything that was in season.
Did you go past high school?
I graduated and I left for the military ASAP. I was only home a couple months after graduation, and I joined the United States Navy.
What brought you to the Navy?
My cousin was going in. My step grandpa was a Navy guy all his life. Brother-in-law was in the Navy. It's just something that we've had several Navy guys in the family. It was just I know I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to continue after high school. It just wasn't for me. I wanted to go to work. Uh, I wanted to, as crazy as it sounds, I want to go back to Lafitte. At that time, I was running from Lafitte. Been there my whole life. Wanted to get out, man. I was a rambling man. I had to roll.
Before we go into the Navy career, tell me maybe about some antics growing up down there. What kind of shit you were getting into?
Oh Lord, we was mischievous, but really not bad kids. You know what I mean? I mean, you would take stuff from maybe somebody's boat or something if they had lunch in the ice box, for just nothing bad. I can't really say that I've been in trouble down there. And plus, with everybody knowing who your dad was, you really didn't want to cause too much trouble, you know, because it was going to get back to him if you did. So really no stories about bad stuff. I mean, it was our people, you know, no
Yeah.
trouble at all, man.
Well, tell me about getting out of high school, going into the Navy, about boot camp, and then I guess your Navy career.
I graduated in May. I worked the shrimp dock for the entire summer to get some money on the side, and I left August 8th. First time on an airplane, believe it or not. 18 years old, first time on an airplane. I went to boot camp in Orlando. Did 2 months of boot camp, and then I went straight to school for a month before I went meet the ship.
How was
I
boot camp?
came home for boot camp was good. I mean, it was I guess when you're 18 years old and you don't have much discipline, it's a shock to the system at first. I can tell you, you know, the first night we went to sleep, it was okay, and then we got waken up by a metal garbage can getting thrown down the passageways by the bunk. So that was a reality check the first morning there. You knew you wasn't in Kansas no more.
And what was your MOS? What would you go to school for that month?
I went to seaman apprenticeship. Um, Basically learning everything about the ship, navigation, uh, you name it, tying rope, splicing rope, just about anything you can imagine that you would need uh, to run the vessel. That was a month long, also in Orlando.
All right, and then tell me about your first duty.
Oh Lord, the when I joined, I'm a lot older than you, so I don't know if you remember, but August 8th, I left for boot camp, and I think Saddam invaded Kuwait that month also for the first Gulf War. So I went straight, came home from boot camp for 2 weeks, flew straight to Saudi Arabia, spent the night in Saudi Arabia, then got flown to Bahrain, and we met the ship right before the first Gulf War started.
And how'd that experience go for you?
Again, being from a little young man from a little small community, uh, it was real. It was eye opening to what's going on in the world. You know, it was scary. Uh, it made you question yourself. Why, you know, why did I do this? You know, all of them things go through your head, but a lot of fear. You know, I said this is what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to defend this country, whatever that took. I was okay with it. You know, but it took a while to adjust.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Your first flight to Orlando and then straight to Saudi Arabia onto a friggin' Navy ship.
Yeah, it was. I grew up in probably about 4 months. I grew up quick.
How long was that tour of duty?
I stayed a total of 6 months over there. Uh, Once the war had ended, uh, you know, we got the Marines back to the ship, and after everything was settled, we slowly started making our way back.
And what happened next for you?
We hit a couple ports coming back: Haifa, Israel, Sigonella, Spain, and straight on through the Atlantic back to Norfolk. That was my home station for 4 years, Norfolk, Virginia.
And how did the rest of your career play out?
I actually, with going through all of the running the vessel, it kind of played up for me. I mean, I've had boats my whole life, grow up even when I was small, so I was pretty good at it. You know, I ran the captain skiff, I ran the lifeboats, and they kept on sending. You know, as I progressed, they kept on sending me back to school. I went to coxswain school, then I went to assault coxswain, which is you know, the LCACs and all that, land the Marines on the beach. I got to get qualified on those. So, you know, the better I got, the more responsibilities I got, and I took it for everything I can learn. So I pushed it. I pushed it.
Good for you, and thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Man.
Where'd your life take you after that?
I got out. I did my 4, and at the end of the 4, I was like, you know what? Back in that day, the military wasn't paying too much money. And I was like, I've been gone from home for years. I can make this little bit money at home. It's time to go. It's time to go and start a life over, and help my parents and just get back, And I was ready. I was ready to come back.
And when you got back, what happened?
I was married right before I went through the war. So we had moved back. We had moved down to bayou Lafitte. That's where her parents and all was from, Golden Meadow. And straight off, as soon as I got back, I went offshore. Went offshore for probably a year and a half when we first got back. And after that, her father worked at Crosby Tugs. He was a port captain at Crosby Tugs. And he said, man, we're looking for somebody pretty bad. We need some help. Because at that time in the mid-90s, Crosby was just growing. They were getting big. They got up to 53 boats when I was there. So my father-in-law hired me on. At first, I was just supposed to be a mechanic's helper and a runner and, whatever they needed. And the amount of boats they got so quick, I started doing all the crew changes, bringing crews on their groceries, taking them off, taking them all back home. And I did that for about 4 years. In between that, with my time that I had in the Navy, I went ahead and went to captain school because I had the time to go. So I did that for about a month while I was at Crosby, and I did get my license, but I was still working in the office at the time. And at the time, the captain's pay wasn't, like it is today. So it didn't pay for me to leave my kids again, So I just stuck it out in the office. I learned a bunch of things after he pulled me in. And then I wanted to move back home to Lafitte, or as close as possible as I can get. They had another job come up, dispatching the Warren gas tows out of Harvey. So I asked my father-in-law about it. He said, yeah, if you want to go. So I sold everything I had and go to Meta, and we moved to the West Bank. And that's really when I started dispatching. I dispatched the gas tows for, I think it was about 6 months or so. They wanted to end up shutting the office down in Harvey and bring everybody to back down to Bayou to go to Meta. And I was like, Kurt, I sold everything I had to move. I just couldn't do it. And luckily, through my wife's connections with her family ran, I forgot the name of the towboat company they had, but they were good friends with one of the fellas at ACBL Harahan, and he had a job available. He said, hey, you want to come check it out? And that was my first stint with ACBL. I was at Harahan for almost 5 years right there.
Before we get too far down that road, tell me about that year and a half working offshore.
It was good. It was 7-7, but a true 7-7. You were going 7. It's hard work. I did feel good about it. I did like it, but I mean, when your father-in-law has something for you, you got to take it. But yeah, it was good. I learned a lot. I learned about the process, everything that goes into it. I mean, those guys, they earn their money, man. They work hard out there to get that stuff out the ground. It's amazing.
All right. Well, skipping back forward. So you're at ACBL Harahan for the first hitch. What was your job then?
I took a night position behind Mike Schmerlin and in the Armont area. I had Armont Fleet at the time, and yeah, I took the night job and worked it. I'm not sure how long I was on nights. in the 5 years I was there, I must have been on nights maybe 3 years. And the little lady that had opposite me and Mike, think she felt ill or something like that, and they gave me a shot at the day spot, and I guess I worked there the last 2 remaining years before they closed shop.
Who closed shop?
If you're well, I don't think you can remember. I think it was maybe it was the late '90s. Del Wilkins had came down from Jeffersonville, and he they had a meeting with all of us, and they was like, look, we thinking on moving everybody up to Jeffersonville, Indiana, all the dispatching. And I was like, whoa. I mean, I just came back from the Navy. I've just been home a little while. So I declined to go. I took my package and I hit the road. I just couldn't move again. I couldn't be gone from Louisiana again. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to. My daughter was 2 years old when we came back and just started meeting her grandparents. I'm like, I'm not doing it again. So I took my package and I moved on down the road. A couple people went. A lot of us stayed.
What was next for you in your career?
From ACBL that first time, I went on to inspectorate. I went work with Stella and them. I was surveying barges. I did that for a few months, and then I got a call out of the blue. I remember it to this day. It was Gina Wilson from Turn Services. She calls me and she says, "Hey, I heard you didn't go to Indiana." I'm like, "No, I can't move." And that's when Elmwood was just cranking up and starting to get stuff together. She's like, "Look, we got a spot over here." Woodrow took another job in Wood Landry, and it opened up a spot. And she said, "Would you think about coming?" I said, "Yeah." So we talked a couple of things, and that's how I got to Elmwood, and that was 2003.
And what was that job?
Also a night dispatcher. I started off at nights. And I guess a total, I must have worked, I don't know, 4 or 5 years on nights. And then Terrence had let somebody go, and they had a day spot came open, and I took it. And that was it. I was straight days from the rest of my time.
Was that Memco?
Yes, it was. That's when we was first starting the. I mean, we were doing the fleet for Memco, but we was first starting, and I think Terrence had explained it. We was just starting to look at this turn stuff and really see how to do it. And that was a fun time. That was it was challenging, but we got good at it. We got real good at it.
Well, so that was 03. I met you in mid 2015. Walk me through those 12 years.
Oh Lord, all at AEP. It was Elmwood, Memco, and then AEP took us all over, and we were still at James Park, right there by the airport for I don't know how many years we was there, and then they finished the convent building finally, and we all moved up there. All of us from this end. It was me, Vicky, Trudy, Linda. We packed up, Ryan, moved on up.
Did you know Marty Mahoney at Elmwood or Memco?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Marty's a good old boy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So you make it to convent. What's your career track from there?
Yeah, I was straight dispatching. Same thing over there, day dispatcher for convent. And Darren was a fleet manager at the time. He took another position. I'm not sure what it was he took. I don't know if it was on canals or if it was liquids or something. And it opened up the fleet manager job. So I took that, and I did that for a while. But my love for dispatching was I was there with the guys every day, but it's just the same if you're not doing it, not thinking about it, not coming up with plans. So after a while at that, I had told Vicky, I'm like, "Look, Vic, we had to let we let somebody go or something. And I was working the spot anyway, because I mean, when you're the fleet manager, if somebody don't show up, normally you're gonna work it. So I mean, I worked it for weeks and weeks, and then finally I told Vic, I'm like, you know what? If it's all good with y'all, I'd rather be dispatching again. You know these numbers and this paperwork, it wasn't for me, man. I'd rather be talking to the guys on the radio and coming up with stuff and just that was where I needed to be. That's what I loved.
When I arrived at AEP, I heard that you were I guess the master of turning fleets. How did you develop those skills or I guess that mindset, that relationship? Was it more relationship with the boats than it was planning? Was
Oh,
it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Because look, we can do whatever we think we want to do on the desk, but the pilots we had at AEP, I mean, both fleets, even when we got Belmont around the corner, absolutely killed it. I mean, just it was a great time. I mean, you didn't hear, I don't want to do it. I mean, these guys, we all knew, being working for the electric company, we knew, if we performed, they took care of us. And that's what everybody worked their butt off every year, because we knew they was going to get back. And as far as turning toes, the guys we had on the boat were so good at what they did. There was several things that came into play to be able to do what we did. The guys on the boat were outstanding. We had, if you remember back at that time, we had St. James loading in our fleet, which, I mean, we'd get barges loaded, and I mean, as soon as we got them surveyed, boom, they're going in tow. And we're building as they come off the rig. Just staying a few steps ahead all the time. It worked out. It was unbelievable. I can remember, I think one of my best days I'll never forget, and this is truly because of the captains we had. 3 tows in 6 hours we turned. 210 barges. Meshing them, flattened out a spot at Belmont for all 3 tows southbound. Boom, boom, boom. They cut them loose. We had 3 northbound tows waiting, one on the anchor buoy, one on the lower East Bank, and one on up Jose. In 6 hours, 210 barges. Amazing.
You don't see that too much these days.
No, you're never gonna see that again. It'll never be redone. I know, working at a couple places, they're not doing it at the level we do. It was just, I mean, the first phone call from the southbound boats at Baton Rouge, how much rigging you got on the southbound, Cap? He would tell us. Whatever we tell him what we got on the northbound, we'll figure out the difference. If he owed us, we'd get it when we turned him loose. If we owed him, we put it on the face of his toe. I mean, everything it was awesome. I mean, I can't say enough. I miss those days. It was, I mean, we used to do the monthly, how many boats came in, how many balls dropped, and the turn time was just amazing, man. By how many toes we turned.
So I know when ACBL acquired AEP, you had parted ways, and you went to Ingram.
Yeah.
You were in
Yeah.
a similar function there, right?
Yeah, I was assistant dispatch manager under Mr. Harrell, but I also ran Capital Fleet, and at that time they had you remember the old Welcome Fleet?
Yeah.
Right across from Zeno, they had that fleet also, and I ran both of those, and also assisted Harrell in the dispatches.
How long were you there?
I was at Ingram almost 4 years. Almost 4 years at Ingram. That was right after I had left ACBL.
And then what's happened since then?
Oh, I bounced around, man. I was lucky enough to do the few things on my bucket list I wanted to do. I wanted to do carpentry for a while, and I was able to hook up with a gentleman that needed a helper and wanted to show somebody. So I did that for a little while. I always did carry my CDL though. I love driving. It's always been in me. My dad used to drive the shrimp docks at the shrimp trucks at the dock. It was something I knew I always wanted to do. So even though I dispatched for 27 years, I've had my CDL, I guess, half that time, just in case. And it was a good thing I kept it. You know, when I left the river, I started driving for a few people, getting my experience back. You know, and it's been working out. You know.
Well, good for you. All right. Well, let's switch gears to family. How many kids you have?
First marriage, I got my oldest daughter is 30, dude. 30. My oldest daughter, Dominique, she's getting her master's degree right now. She's in Jacksonville, Florida. And when I got remarried, me and Christine had another little girl. She just had a birthday on the 4th. She's 8. So I got a 30-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Bit of a spread.
I should be a grandpa, not a dad.
What's the 30-year-old studying?
Literature. She actually was the English teacher down here before she left. She worked many years at J.B. Martin Middle School on the West Bank up in Paradis, and she taught a little while before she left at Destrehan. She taught I think honors English and literature and that kind of stuff.
What kind of mischief does the 8-year-old get into?
Oh Lord, she's as bad as I was as a kid. I don't know how I got blessed, man. These two girls, not a lick of trouble, smart as a whip. I mean, it's surprising what comes out her mouth sometimes. I'm like, I got to ask her mama sometime, are you listening just in case I missed something? Because I mean, second grade, reading books already. I don't remember reading that in second grade. I mean, hella smart, both of them. I'm so proud. Everybody said, well, you want a son. After these two, no way. I'll take those two girls over anything.
Roger that. Well, do you have any message for or about the industry?
Tim, it's something that, and you know this too, and Denny had hit it good on the head too. It's just something that it gets in you, man. It gets in you, and I'm lucky enough right now. I'm the only CDL driver for Paducah Rigging. So, although I'm not dispatching on the river, I see everybody all week. I mean, I'm from Avant all the way up to Capitol, Greenville, Vicksburg. I mean, it's like I never left the river. I see everybody. I see old friends. I'm always at Convent, CGB. So it's still in me, man. I miss it, but I still get to share in the river. I find myself sometime when I'm eating lunch, I'll find a place after I drop and just watch the boats pass.
Well, finally, you kind of touched on it at the very beginning, but what do you think about my little project here?
I think it's awesome, man. I'm glad you sent me that link. I didn't. I guess being gone for the river, I really don't know what's going on. When you sent me that, I started looking at it more, and seeing the people, some which I worked with, and it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing. And what I told you before on the phone, man, you got a good radio voice, man.
Well, I'll try to keep that going.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely keep it up, man. It's awesome. And like I said, I learned stuff about Denny I didn't know, and I'm gonna keep following your interviews and keep learning, man.
Text Vicky for me. Let her know get on the show, man. I keep pushing real gently.
I can do it. She told you no, or she's thinking about it?
She's thinking about it. She's got enough going on in her retirement though, so we'll work it out.
Oh yeah, and she's got more years than us on the river, so I'm sure she's got stories and I know it was a pleasure working with her and for her. Yeah, she'll come around. She'll do it.
I think
I'll
so.
put a couple cents.
Appreciate it, man. Like I said, that just about
Oh,
does it. I thank you for your time, brother.
oh man, always a pleasure, Tim. Keep it up, brother.
We'll be in touch.
All right, my man.
See you.